Smash that subscribe button if you like Ben 10. Season 5 of the Ben 10 reboot is coming very soon, and to celebrate Ben 10's 15th anniversary, you will get to see a recap of all the major events leading up to Season 5. Hello my brothers and sisters by God, this is your brother in Christ, Abstract Schnitzel, and this is the Ben 10 reboot recap before Season 5. Season 1. Ben recently gets the Omnitrix and has not had it for a long time. He is extremely inexperienced and reckless with it, but has the hang of 9 of his aliens. He soon discovers he missed one, Overflow, who is his 10th alien and is a good addition to Ben's alien list, due to his ability to fight underwater. He fights numerous villains in Season 1, but is still learning to be mature. There is no main antagonist of Season 1, but Dr. Animo, Hex, Zombozo, Billy Billions, Michael Morningstar, the Weatherheads, Simon Says, and Vilgax are the most notable ones. Ben's summer vacation is normal in a sense that he actually goes to fun places all over the US, but he does learn how to use the Omnitrix along the way as he fights villains. By the end of Season 1, Ben starts to take his missions more seriously and wants more power, and that's when a new alien shows up. This new alien, whom Ben calls Gax, easily becomes Ben's most powerful and favorite transformation at the time. As Ben unlocks Gax, the Omnitrix annoyingly beeps, trying to signal something. Gax easily defeats the Terramite, one of Dr. Animo's mutated animals. Ben quickly gets attached to Gax, but the beeping continues, so Max gets one of his old buddies, Phil, to look at it. 3 bounty hunters, Tetrax, 66, and Crab, are hired to retrieve Ben's Omnitrix, but they fail to do so as Ben fights them off. Phil tries to see what is wrong with Ben's Omnitrix, as the beeping gets worse and Ben starts to lose control of his transformations. He continues to rapidly transform against his will, so Ben tests out Gax's abilities as Phil reads the signals. Gax meets another Chimeran who calls himself Vil. Vil shortly removes Gax from the Omnitrix, absorbing him into himself, becoming Vilgax once more. It turns out Gax was half of Vilgax, trapped in the Omnitrix, and Vil was the other half. The bounty hunters tried to stop Ben because they wanted to stop Vilgax from combining, but since they failed, they tried to stop Vilgax in his full form, but they failed as well. Vilgax fuels his ship with magma from a volcano nearby, and Ben once more attempts to fight Vilgax with his uncontrollable transformations. He is able to keep up with the Chimeran, but eventually resorts to upgrading the Omnitrix, which put him back in human form and gave him the ability to temporarily quick change. Ben uses this temporary feature to defeat Vilgax, and Vilgax is left in his sinking ship in the volcano. Ben also unlocks a new alien. Season 2. Vilgax is the main antagonist of Season 2. Vilgax manages to escape the volcano with permanent scars and seeks things that will benefit him. Ben discovers new armored forms on his aliens known as Omni-Enhanced forms. These Omni-Enhancements upgrade each of Ben's aliens with electric powers, as well as a few extra gigs for respective aliens. Ben cannot choose when to turn into Omni-Enhanced aliens, and they are seemingly random, but they do well assisting him in battle. As Ben gets used to the new Omni-Enhancements, Vilgax seeks fellowship with villains who can assist him on missions, Dr. Animo being the first one. Dr. Animo helps Vilgax collect DNA from the Omnitrix, but turns himself into Wrath using his DNA gun after Vilgax betrays him.
I know exactly.
With Animo, Ben escaped, leaving Vilgax behind in a building that would blow up. But Animo sought to murder Ben, and timed out just as the action was about to take place. As time went on, Ben continued to discover all his Omni-Enhanced forms, but eventually found a new alien which he had not seen previously. As Ben's Omni-Enhancements were uncontrollable, it seemed as if Ben was causing harm, so Vilgax proposed Ben give him the Omnitrix, but Ben refused and turned into the alien Vilgax warned him about, Shockrock. This alien ends up being so powerful that Ben needs to practice with him a lot, unlike his other aliens. Eventually, Ben decides to give up the Omnitrix for the safety of the world, till he discovers that Vilgax teamed up with the Weatherheads to trick Ben into thinking Shockrock and the Omni-Enhancements were responsible for the disasters that had been happening. So Ben fights Vilgax as Shockrock without having mastered his abilities. After an intense fight, Shockrock takes out Vilgax and the 3 Weatherheads with one big blow, and Ben decides he must practice with this alien to master his abilities. We eventually see the bounty hunters again, who still attempt to capture Ben and his Omnitrix, but they fail to do so. Ben continues using his Omni enhancements and Shockrock, while Vilgax carries on with his evil plans and looks for more villain collaborations. He collaborates with Zombozo, but this collaboration resulted with failure on Zombozo's part, so Vilgax ditched him. Some side events occur as well, such as Charmcaster appearing. The witch gained her powers from a spellbook she found, but ends up becoming an arch-nemesis of Gwen. We also learn more about how Ben got the Omnitrix. He found it in a forest as a capsule crashed, and he got to it before Vilgax could. A time travel squabble with Billy Billions occurs in Season 2, but Ben ends up thriving successfully with the Omnitrix again. By the end of Season 2, Ben seems to have gained control of Shockrock and his Omni enhancements. Ben meets Vilgax again, but this time, Vilgax finds that Ben's new alien, Shockrock, is being used for the Fulmini, Shockrock species, to invade Earth, so Ben teams up with Vilgax to stop the Fulmini threat. Ben and Vilgax go inside the Omnitrix to stop the Fulmini threat, and a new notable character, Glitch Ben, is introduced. Glitch explains that as Ben used Upgrade to reboot the Omnitrix's system, it caused a malfunction and a massive feedback loop ravaged the in-system matrix, destroying Upgrade's DNA pod in the process. Upgrade's DNA fused with Ben's DNA to survive, which formed Glitch Ben. Glitch replaced Upgrade's pod with Shockrock's pod, and the Fulmini Abolites allowed it to absorb the excess charge. An unforeseen side effect to this was that a signal pulse was sent back to Fulmas each time Ben turned into Shockrock, and a portal was eventually opened between the two worlds. Ben discovers that his Omni enhancements were the result of Shockrock's DNA seeping into other pods, which is why they seem to happen randomly. Ben meets the Fulmini leader, the High Override, and the High Override takes control of Shockrock's mind and sends Vilgax to the Null Void.
No! No! No!
When Ben finally breaks free from the mind control, he fights alongside Gwen as Stinkfly and Max as Cannonbolt, using a fusion of Accelerate, Diamond Head, Heat Blast, and Forearms, and defeats the High Override with the help of his willpower. When the High Override is sent to the portal, the Omnitrix receives another reboot, and Grey Matter, Wildvine, and Overflow are replaced by Slapback, Humongousaur, and Wrath. The Omnitrix's reboot repaired the Fulmini malfunction, which eliminated the Omni enhancements, and Glitch joined the Tennyson family. However, Glitch gets stuck in his rust buggy form. Crossover Nexus. Ben is found in a destroyed city with Garnet from Steven Universe. The two heroes fight a villain named Strike, who summons KO from OKKO to fight. Strike's blaster shot zaps off the Omnitrix symbol, leaving Ben stuck as Forearms. Ben, KO, and Garnet escape and bring down the blaster temporarily. The three heroes find an abandoned building with many heroes frozen in stone with red X's on them. They find another hero from Teen Titans Go, known as Raven, who explains that the city was full of heroes until Strike destroyed them all and took their powers. Raven revealed that Strike began summoning heroes from other dimensions to destroy, which is why the four heroes were in the Wasteland. Raven had lost most of her powers, but the four decided to fight Strike. KO also brought back Raven's magic and Garnet's visor, which Strike had stolen before, and the two girls attacked Strike. Shortly after this, something odd happened. Instead of transforming into aliens, Ben started transforming into all kinds of heroes in the Cartoon Network universe and ended Strike's reign of terror with a punch as Finn. Garnet ordered the pen to undo the damage caused by Strike, restoring the Nexus realm to its former glory and reviving the heroes that were eliminated. The heroes went back to their dimensions, and KO discovered that this was no dream after seeing the Garnet POW card. This crossover special is canon, but Ben can only transform into other heroes when he's in the Nexus realm, according to Duncan Rouleau. The main antagonists of Season 3 are the Forever Knight and Kevin 11. The Tennyson family, now able to fly around the world with the Omnicopter, gets to explore Europe. Ben sees an old bully, Kevin 11, who somehow gets an Omnitrix of his own. He built his Omnitrix in his garage after receiving a dream with blueprints about it. So he built it on his own with modifications and called it the Antitrix. This makes Kevin Ben's rival, as Kevin's alien forms are mutated versions of Ben's, and Kevin has an extra alien that Ben doesn't have, Bashmouth. It is revealed that Ben's alien DNA makes Glitch Ben's rust buggy transform into a vehicle specially made for the respective aliens, which helps Ben whenever he needs to fast travel as an alien that can't travel fast. Ben also meets the Forever Knight, a villain who had been watching Ben since the beginning of the series. The Forever Knight fought Ben to test his abilities, then retreated. As Season 3 went on, we learned more about Kevin. Although he acts like a bully with extensive pride on the outside, he is actually insecure and lonely on the inside. Kevin isn't exactly a villain. He's actually quite neutral and will team up with the Tennysons if he must. However, he had a deep hatred for Ben because, unlike Ben, Kevin doesn't have a family and friends whom he can count on, and this hatred has led to Kevin attempting to kill Ben numerous times at the beginning of Season 3.
That's your grandpa, baby!
At least I have someone to run back to. Wait,
So, that's how it is.
Hey, I didn't mean to.
You want original? I'll give you original.
However, as time went on, Kevin started to hate Ben less, and his hatred turned into a rivalry. At times, Kevin started to enjoy his time with Ben and Ben's family. Kevin isn't homeless in the reboot like he was in the original series, but his dad is a neglectful alcoholic, so Kevin doesn't have anyone to run back to. Kevin's loneliness made him an easy target for the Forever Knight, who wanted Kevin on his team because of his anti-tricks. However, other villains like Simon Says, Charmcaster, Vin Ethanol, and Billy Billions were recruited as well, after the Forever Knight witnessed the talents and powers they possessed. The bounty hunters continued seeking after Ben in this season. When Tetrax successfully captured Ben, Crab and 66 teamed up and attempted to take Ben from Tetrax and were willing to fight Tetrax for Ben. Crab cut off Tetrax's arm, and the damage was so severe that his arm cannot regenerate, leaving the limb irreparable. When Ben saved Tetrax as Shockrock, Tetrax left him alone for the time being as a way of thanking Ben. By the end of Season 3, the Forever Knight had fulfilled the recruiting stage of his plan, as he recruited the last person he needed for his plan, Ben. Ben joined the Forever Knight's team, saying he trusts them because Gwen and Grandpa don't trust him. Max, Gwen, and Phil noticed Ben's disappearance, so Phil attempted to track Ben. Phil gave Gwen a high-tech stealth and battle costume and sent her to investigate when they tracked Ben at the Forever Knight's lab. The recruits were working to build the Forever Knight a time machine, but didn't know why. Eventually, Phil, Max, and Gwen were all there to save Ben, but Ben told them to go away, saying he didn't need them anymore, before heading into the time portal with the Forever Knight.
Ben, we're here to help! Go away! I don't need you anymore.
The Forever Knight revealed that his goal was to stop aliens from contacting humans, because this eventually led to the event of Ben getting the Omnitrix. Eliminating Earth's previous contact with aliens would eliminate Ben's threat to the Forever Knight's plans, meaning the Forever Knight could become Earth's ultimate ruler. When Ben discovered this, he attempted to stop the Forever Knight, but very few of his aliens were a match for the Knight. Back in the present, Gwen, Max, and Phil continued fighting the other recruits, but Kevin decided to help Gwen, so the two jumped through the portal and tried to help Ben stop the Forever Knight. Gwen, Ben, and Kevin successfully prevented the Forever Knight from destroying the satellite tower that aliens would come into contact with, so the aliens were able to successfully reach young Max and Phil. Gwen had retrieved the Forever Knight's time glove and found the portal to the present, but the Forever Knight destroyed her battlesuit and she dropped the glove. The team needed to reach the portal to the present, but the Knight was restricting their ability to do that. So Kevin sacrificed himself to save Ben and Gwen and let them get back to the present. All the recruits were taken care of for the time being. Vin and Simon turned on Billy and Charmcaster to help the Tennysons, and Charmcaster couldn't fight back since Kevin had destroyed her ruin before heading to the past with Gwen. The Forever Knight was stuck in the time portal with Kevin, but the helmet of the Forever Knight got out of the portal. Season 4. Phil discovers that something else crashed alongside the Omnitrix, so he and the Tennyson family head to the crash site to find what this item was before anyone else could. A new villain known as Breaker 19 was hired by an unknown company to excavate the Omnitrix crash site. His excavation mech had a combat mode that was used when Ben tried to stop him. Although Humongosaur's tail was not able to destroy the mech, it did strengthen the signal of the object that was being tracked. Gwen tracked the object and threw it to Ben. It was a key. Ben inserted this key and discovered a new feature, Omni-Kicks. The Omni-Kicks added indestructible armor to Ben's aliens and enhanced the powers of each of the aliens. And for many of these aliens, these enhancements were extreme. While Humongosaur's strong tail couldn't put a dent in Breaker 19's mech, Omni-Kick's forearms easily destroyed the mech and knocked out Breaker 19 unconscious. The new Omni-Kicks aliens gave Ben extra power, but they did have one issue. The time Ben got to stay in Omni-Kicks alien form was dramatically shorter than the time Ben could stay in regular alien form. Ben also discovered that Stinkfly was replaced with Jetray, but Jetray was shown to be a worthy addition to Ben's active playlist. Up until this point, there have been 5 aliens that were replaced. Upgrade, Wildvine, Stinkfly, Overflow, and Grey Matter were all replaced. Throughout Season 4, Ben had been using his Omni-Kicks aliens, learning of their new abilities, and used all of them except Omni-Kicks Jetray, all while traveling around the world with his family using the Omnicopter. Ben soon discovered that Kevin escaped the time portal and made it to the present, and continued doing whatever he felt like doing as he did in Season 3. Remember the Forever Knight's helmet that got out of the time portal? It turns out this helmet is actually alien technology, and the Forever Knight transferred his consciousness to the helmet, and needed a new host since his previous body was stuck in the time portal. The Knight found multiple hosts, but could not stay on long enough because Ben was on his tail. Max eventually trapped the helmet in a bowl, and the helmet was no longer a threat. At the end of Season 4, Phil discovered that a large meteor was heading toward Earth, and relied on Ben to stop it. Phil discovered that Ben's Omnitrix key was inserted properly, so he properly inserted it and sent Ben to take out the meteor with Omninaut Jetray. Ben, however, could not control where he was going, and missed the meteor and ended up flying into a portal instead. Gwen, Max, and Phil are distraught by this, and prepare for the end of the world, but the meteor suddenly disappears, and it is revealed that the meteor was actually a pod, and Vilgax, who escaped the Null Void, was in it. Ben is soon abducted by the Incursions after flying into the portal. The Incursions believe Ben is Vilgax and refuse to allow him to escape. Ben eventually gets arrested and forced to face justice for his crimes. Max, Gwen, and Phil are confused by the meteor's sudden disappearance and find energy signatures similar to those of the Omnitrix, so they follow the signatures thinking Ben came back to Earth. However, Max and Gwen find that these signatures were coming from Kevin's Antitrix, and Kevin was transforming uncontrollably, similar to Ben in Season 1's finale. Max and Gwen invite Kevin to Phil's house so that Phil can take a look at his Antitrix and figure out what's wrong with it. In space, Tetrax, who is summoned in the Incursion's mothership, uses footage of Ben as Gax to prove that Ben is Vilgax in disguise. Ben is sent to the Null Void as punishment and faces off aliens who are aware of Ben's watch, but Azimuth stops these aliens. Azimuth takes the Omnitrix away from Ben and reveals his history with Vilgax. Azimuth made the Omnitrix to allow the user to experience another species' shoes, and wanted to use it as a symbol of peace around the universe. He met Vilgax, a Chimera sui generis, who wanted to learn more about his work. Azimuth guided Vilgax as an apprentice, but Vilgax became power-hungry and wanted to use the Omnitrix's power for his own personal gain. Azimuth used the watch's power to trap half of Vilgax's DNA inside in desperation to save the universe, but was exiled to the Null Void for his involvement in Vilgax's reign of terror. Azimuth, who is impressed by Ben's desperation to save the universe and his family, puts Ben through a trial. In this trial, Ben figures out a feature in the Omnitrix that he did not know about previously. He learns how to temporarily switch alien pods, which would allow him to unlock new aliens. He used this feature to save a Pisces Volan prisoner, but fails the trial. Even though Ben failed the trial, Azimuth believed Ben proved himself worthy of saving the universe. Meanwhile, Vilgax finds Kevin on Earth, and it is soon revealed that Vilgax was the one who sent Kevin the dream about building the Antitrix. After an intense battle, Vilgax steals the Antitrix from Kevin and unlocks his anti-Vilgax form, an amalgam of the 11 Antitrix aliens combined with Vilgax's own powers. Ben, who got out of the Null Void thanks to Azimuth, saw the Incursions at the mercy of a huge Null Void portal. Ben saved the Incursions as Omninaut Shockrock, and the Incursions realized that Ben was not Vilgax. and that Tetrax lied. Back on Earth, Anti-Vilgax is attempting to kill Max, Gwen, Phil, and Kevin. Glitch Ben's Rust Buggy form is destroyed by Vilgax, but Glitch turns into a battlesuit and merges with Kevin as an attempt to stop Anti-Vilgax. Anti-Vilgax uses the powers of Bootleg, the Anti-Trix's DNA sample of a galvanic mechamorph, to terraform Earth. Back in space, the Incursions apologize for sending Ben to the Null Void, but cannot find Tetrax. When Ben finds Tetrax, he discovers that Azimuth was the one who hired Tetrax in the first place. From Season 1 to now, Tetrax was getting paid by Azimuth to stop Ben. Ben willingly allows Tetrax to go back to his home planet, Petropia, when he discovers this news. Ben uses Omninaut Heat Blast to destroy asteroids in an asteroid belt, and flies into a portal that takes him back to Earth, where he seeks to help his allies bring Vilgax to justice. Kevin and Ben try to fight Anti-Vilgax, but Vilgax stole Ben's Omnitrix key and used it to transform into Alien V, a mutated Celestial merged with Vilgax's DNA. Kevin retrieves the Antitrix, and Ben retrieves the Omnitrix key right before Alien V's transformation, and the two once again try to stop Vilgax, and they once again fail. Vilgax hits Kevin hard, and Ben's Omninaut aliens aren't even enough to stop Alien V, so Ben uses his newly discovered Omnitrix feature to unlock Waybig and attempts to fight Vilgax once more. In the face-off between Waybig and Alien V, Waybig knocks out Vilgax with a Cosmic Ray, and Vilgax is taken to galactic custody. Azimuth believes Ben has proved himself to be worthy of the power of the Omnitrix, and allows Ben to keep it. The Tennysons look for Kevin, but he has vanished, but the Tennysons believe they will see him again soon. Phil states he can rebuild Glitch from the destroyed armor, and Team Tennyson drives off to Nebraska, where I live. I then met the Tennyson family and got an Omnitrix of my own.
Wait, what? I don't remember this.
Scratch that last part. I didn't meet the Tennysons, but I did get an Omnitrix of my own though. And that is the Ben 10 reboot recap before Season 5. Stay tuned for Season 5, and happy 15th anniversary to Ben 10. This show was a great show, one of the few shows I even watch now, and I'm happy to see it last this long, and I only hope that it'll last longer. And stay tuned for more videos, and for Season 5 of the Ben 10 reboots. God bless.